Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spoiler Warning Podcast. This is review number 843 with a review of The Odyssey. I'm Christopher Schnese.
And I'm Stephen Miller.
And if you're joining us for the first time, the Spoiler Warning Podcast is a weekly film review program. Each week on the show, we're going to dive in, debate, discuss, and argue over the latest films coming to a theater near you. This week, we are making the voyage back to the theaters to check out the latest film from Christopher Nolan. This is The Odyssey. Very, very exciting. Stephen, to get started, should we talk about maybe the format we saw this film in, our history with The Odyssey? Yeah, let's just start with that.
Yep.
I assume you and I both caught it. Same theater, same format, 70mm giant IMAX here at the Metreon in San Francisco.
Yes, like a true film lover, 1 year ago when tickets went on sale, I grabbed myself a pair of tickets to see this 70mm IMAX opening weekend. Was very excited, and then I learned roughly 4 days ago that I would not be able to make that screening. So, like a true person who is destroying cinema, I went on eBay and paid $150 for a secondhand ticket to a 7 a.m. screening on Friday that I could make it to instead. I will admit that was overkill, right? That was a guarantee of a ticket. It turned out 6:30 in the morning when I checked the AMC app, tons of singleton tickets were available because people woke up and clearly decided, like, fuck this. I'm not seeing a 7 a.m. movie on a Friday. But still, it was a small price to pay for a guarantee of getting to see The Odyssey.
Yeah.
So I assume you also saw it 70mm IMAX at the Metreon.
Yes. I didn't know tickets were on sale. I believe we were at TIFF when the tickets went on sale.
Nope.
No, we weren't?
No, it was July. Yeah.
Okay, it was July.
Because I was talking to David Cho, actually, not to out him on the podcast, but it's fine. Because he was strategizing about how to do this in New York, and I was like, I'm also going to do it.
All right. I think was it at TIFF that you told me that you had tickets for it?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
That was probably when I
got
told
you.
Because I did get two, and I knew Joanna would not care.
Got you. Okay.
So I was like, if you want it, you can also see it opening weekend with me.
Got you. I think, maybe we were sitting in TIFF and we were talking about how they sold out like way a long time ago, and you're like, oh, I have to.
Yep. Oh,
Nice.
This whole thing?
Yeah. No, so I got my ticket in the second wave, and it took like an hour to buy those tickets, and it was a pain in the ass. I literally was sat there trying to get it for the whole hour, and I got it right before my first meeting of the day started. And I was very happy to finally get it. And we're gonna find out if it was worth the secondhand market price and the hour of my time to get the ticket in a little bit. But why don't you talk a little bit about your history of The Odyssey? Did you read it in school when you were younger? Did you read it later on as an adult? What's been your journey?
I actually have a fairly shallow history of The Odyssey. Like, here's what I remember. First, I was never assigned it in school. So I didn't read didn't read the Iliad. I remember a period of time, maybe senior year of high school, freshman year of college, where I was very excited at the prospect of reading the Iliad and the Odyssey and really getting into it. I know I bought both of them. I made a plan of reading them, and I feel pretty confident that I never read them. It was one of those things, I think, that I told myself I would do and then I did not do. So the closest I've ever come is I did read Ulysses later in life, which is very, very, like, it is structured around the Odyssey, but that's a thing people have recognized and then added chapter titles to mimic. Like, there's a section called The Lotus Eaters, for instance. So I spent some time on Wikipedia learning about the structure of the Odyssey so I could try to make a little bit more sense of James Joyce's Ulysses. And I've seen A Brother, Where Art Thou? So those are the two senses in which I have interacted with the lore of the Odyssey in some capacity, but I've never read the original text. Couldn't have told you the order of the events that happen for Odysseus, and also couldn't have told you really anything about what happened in the Iliad, including whether the Trojan horse was in the Iliad or not. Spoilers, I don't believe it was in the Iliad either. It was a story that was tacked on later to the story of Troy that I think came from the Aeneid, one of the other like Roman versions instead.
You're already out of my depth of knowledge. Yeah, for me, I was never assigned the entire text in school, but we read sections of it for some reason. I guess in my school they were like, you can't handle all of this, so we're just going to have sections of it. So I remember, I distinctly remember like just doing parts of it for some reason, and then over the years I just remember parts of the story just, I guess, through osmosis that just reinforce certain parts of it that I had done in school. So before going into this, I also aspirationally was like, maybe I should read this before watching this film, and then there was no way in hell I was going to have the time to do that. So I just had to do a little refresher course using the old interwebs before heading into the film. But yeah, I don't have a huge breadth of knowledge going into this film.
Yeah. I will say I did no refreshing before going into the film. I kind of wanted to see what Nolan would do with it without being that well versed on the details. The main thing I remembered about previously learning about the Odyssey and comparing it to other things is I remembered the structure was kind of like Lord of the Rings, in that you have all the bad guys and monsters and epic battles, and then there is a decent chunk towards the end that people forget about, which is you come home and shit is still not good at home. There's there's the final thing, and that was kind of what I remembered. For all of this adventure, there is also going to be some kind of homecoming conflict, and that was mainly what I was wondering, how much Nolan would steer into that or not.
Yeah. Cool. Well, should we get into it, Stephen?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, let's take a listen to the trailer for the Odyssey and then come back and give everybody a review.
Tell me what you remember.
A wife? A son?
And then what?
We won the war. Help me go home.
This is a household waiting for master. I want you to choose me.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
No, he's not.
What would he do if he came back here and find all these suitors in his house?
You're pining for a daddy you didn't even know, like some sniveling bastard.
Who's looking after your wife and son?
Do you see?
My dad is coming home. Bringing vengeance.
Bringing it all.
I need everyone at this party dead.
I can still save them.
You're a man who needs to control his fate. But you cannot control this.
That world is gone.
No one could stand between me and home. Not even the gods.
Keep us free!
I think it's asleep.
All right, so that was the trailer for the Odyssey. Tale as old as time. Basically,
Song as old as rhyme.
yeah. Basically, after the Trojan War, Odysseus and his men try to make the long journey home and encounter a lot of different troubles on the way back. Stephen Miller, before I throw to you, should we just assume spoilers abound for this story?
That's what I was wondering. Ground rules are, can we spoil the Odyssey, as in the original story, and can we spoil the couple of ways that Nolan is subverting the original story Does it matter? Do people care? Do we just let this whole thing be a spoilery free-for-all?
I feel like we let this thing just be a spoilery free for all.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad, because a lot of what I wanted to talk about here would have to live in spoilers if I was really trying to preserve someone's experience. But I feel like, hey, it's Monday. You had time. If you're one of the rare people who managed to get tickets.
Some of you might still have tickets that you're waiting to see it in IMAX, and your ticket isn't until August sometime. But
right. So anyway, beware, there are spoilers ahead, but if you know the classic story of Odysseus, most of the spoilers will not be a very big deal, and I think the few that are legitimate spoilers will not hurt your experience at all when you watch it.
Yeah. All right, so what did you think, Stephen Miller, of the Odyssey?
I think this movie is absolutely brilliant. I was going to do my normal thing where I lead in with my expectations versus reality and then try to do a switcheroo. But I just have to lead. I think this is an amazing movie. Like, Christopher Nolan took one of the most insane challenges you could do, which is how do you adapt the most classic story, of all time. A story that is, like, again, I am not an expert in the Odyssey by any means, but I know enough to know that it is not modern, right? It isn't like a story about a character with deep inner feelings that you would relate to in the 21st century, right? This is a grand epic poem where things happen at the whim of the gods. And how do you take that with all of its grandeur and make a compelling feature-length film out of it? And he nailed it, This is a towering movie. Like, I don't know about you, but there's this kind of tingle of excitement I get occasionally in my life. It's almost like a vertigo that I feel when I realize I'm, like, standing on the precipice of some deep thing I can explore. Like, I felt it when I first got into running in San Francisco, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's all these neighborhoods I don't know yet. Like, I can learn about them. I'm not going to say this show paid it off, but I had it at the beginning of the Rings of Power Amazon show when I was like, oh, I'm back in Tolkien world. Oh my God, there's going to be Sauron. There's going to be like, oh, I just have this little kid in me that gets very excited occasionally when I know, like, I am at the beginning of a thing. And the first time I saw the Cyclops in this movie, I felt that again of, oh my gosh, I am living in a world where there are gods and magic and monster, and I get to experience this. I felt this, like, jolt of electricity at 7 a.m. at the Metreon. And there's a few things that really impress me about this adaptation. The first is what I knew it would do, but I'm still glad it did, which is Christopher Nolan is technically impeccable. So he was able to take this story and make it tactile, right? Like, you feel like you are actually living in a world where there are giants and cyclopses and, like, ancient battlefields, and you just feel the awe of all of it in a way that I just thought was beautiful. And it is what I came to the movie for. The second is something I don't think I've ever said about a Nolan movie, and this is where some spoilers will have to happen, but maybe I'll do my, like, opening salvo and you can say your opening version, and then we dive into, like, we talk about everything. This movie is emotionally resonant. Like, that is not Christopher Nolan's strength for me. I don't walk away from his movies and go, wow, I felt so stirred by what you had to say. There are hints of it, right? And he's been getting better at that. Like, Oppenheimer, I think, has some things that make you think and go, okay. But I don't think about the actual character of Oppenheimer and go, wow, I feel so emotional for him, right? It, like, tickles my brain. This movie has, like, an actual emotional gut punch. It has a thing it wants to say about the world. It has a way of recontextualizing the Odyssey that makes it feel very personal and powerful. And I just thought, as a feat of adaptation, it was, like, genius. I was so impressed with what he did with it. And I leaving the theater and going on the Muni to start my workday, I just felt like really moved by this movie, by the grandeur of it, and by like the fact that he managed to make it human. And yeah, I think this is just an amazing movie. If I want to get critical, I can probably find things I would tighten or whatever. We can get into it, but I don't really care because I was just overwhelmingly carried by this the whole time while I was watching it. I think for me, this is top tier Nolan, and that is a really amazing thing to say about the adaptation of the Odyssey, this far into his career. But yeah, I am blown away by it. Can't wait to watch it again. What did you think of the Odyssey?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was brilliant as well. Like I have almost no notes. Like I would tighten nothing. I would loosen everything. Like I want like the 9-hour cut of this movie. You know what I mean? Like my only complaint is that there is so much to cram in. Like there is stuff that is cut. Like my refresher, I know things that had to be removed even to get it down to the thing that we watch. And I want to sit and be able to be in this longer than what we even got. And I felt the push of having to go beat to beat to beat to even get us on the journey that we were on. Like it feels like Odysseus's men touch down on the shore for 2 minutes sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It feels like they're like guys, let's let's form a boarding party. No shit, get out of here. Like it feels like constantly they're like, we're here and then we're out. We're here, we're out along that journey. And I wish we could spend more time to actually sit with those moments and like what they learn at each destination and have them kind of have to deal with those a little bit more, but instead it's kind of like go. That's kind of like my only complaint with that. Besides that, I think this film it's beautiful, it's brilliant. Like I'm so thankful that we live in a city with an IMAX like the thing that we have. Like we're so spoiled to have this here. Back home we had a decent one that we could drive to. We could drive like an hour to go see the one in Irvine.
Yep. I assume the Irvine does 70 millimeter too now. I haven't been there in a long time, but I have to assume the Spectrum is one of those also.
Yeah, I think it is, but I haven't bothered to look because we have
I mean, I saw The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises there, so I have a long history of watching Nolan movies at that theater.
Yeah. So it's just, I'm grateful that we're here. I'm super bummed that when I woke up this morning, I didn't know that Dune 3 tickets were on sale, and I did not get them before they sold out. I'm sorry to let you know this right now live on this podcast, Stephen.
It's okay, I'll go to eBay.
But yeah, they apparently went on sale this morning, like at 7 a.m. While I was in a meeting this morning, or maybe even earlier than that. But sold out instantly. So we'll have to wait for the next wave of tickets, I guess. But anyways, back to this film. This film is just so striking, and it's like the scale of what you get to experience in this film is amazing. And like there are scenes that like are a visual choice in adaptation. Like the journey into Hades in this film is like so. It's just fucking amazing. Like it's one of my favorite parts of this film.
Sand, I have to assume Iceland or something like that, where they filmed it. Amazing.
And that's the thing is like this, just the choice to just do it all. Like Nolan just doing it, finding the places to go to shoot this film to make it feel real and lived in. Like you can make, even comparing it to something like Dune, right? Where Dune has these things that are epic in scale. But it's a different thing, right? You're seeing these like structures and stuff that we know don't exist really. And there's there's a spectacle there. But this is like real places, and just watching it and being like, where did they find this beach that like at low tide is just like endless wet sand for them to walk on to get these shots and stuff like that. Just like just seeing the zones that they go in is something that it's just, you're constantly feeling like you're there as you watch this film. As I said, I'm not a big scholar of the Odyssey, but I wasn't prepared for the kind of thesis of this film. Going into this film, everybody was talking about Nolan has been like continually making these guy trying to get home movies, right? Mm-hmm. Dunkirk, Interstellar, Inception. They're all these movies where the character's like trying to get home. But that's not what this movie is, really. This movie is Oppenheimer again, in a way. This is a person who, this like tactician who made a choice to do a thing that was essentially creating the atom bomb again, doing a thing that created something that he is celebrated for by everyone, for winning a war by doing a thing that he thinks unleashed hell on earth, essentially. And like the weight that sits on a person and how a person deals with that, it's like he's exploring that again in a different context than you get it in Oppenheimer. But the way like this film deals with it, like as that was kind of like getting deeper and deeper into the story, it was kind of like, oh shit. Yeah. Like it was just such an interesting way to explore that aspect of the story and forget about the like sacrifice of trying to get home and just think about, it's not the weight of the people you lost along the way. It's the weight of like all of humanity that was lost because of the choices you've made, not just the individual choice at the moment of what you do with the Cyclops or what you do with the whirlpool or not. It's like the literal single choice that you made to break the covenant with Zeus, essentially. It's like that. There is a different kind of weight that a person carries when you do something like that. That I really love the exploration of that in that story. And I think that of all the interesting, beautiful, epic stuff in this film, like that heart of this story is what I think is so brilliant about it. So I just like when I walked out of it, I couldn't like stop thinking about that aspect of the narrative and how Nolan is exploring that in this second film in that way. And I'm like, oh shit, like I wonder where he is going next with this. So yeah, I just really, really loved it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I mean, this gets into what if anything were a spoiler in broad strokes, it would be this thing that I really want to talk about, which is what you were talking about just now, which is my understanding is the Odyssey is an epic poem, a collection of oral traditions about the trials and tribulations of this great hero and how clever he is. Like, I don't believe there is innate sadness in this poem in terms of like the conniving it took to win the Trojan War, or Odysseus as a man who needs to repent of the evil he unleashed on the world, right? I believe that the brilliant thing Nolan is doing with this adaptation is turning this into a almost anti-hero story, right? He's taking like the most famous hero in literature, basically, and making him a sad person who his victory was Pyrrhic and he regrets it almost immediately. And yeah, is turning him into Oppenheimer. And I think when I realized that that's what he was doing with the story, I was blown away by it. I think it is such a brilliant way to take what I assume is a reason this is so hard to adapt, which is that characters are at the mercy of the gods, right? And it's very hard to watch a story where literally Deus Ex Machina is what is happening all the time. Like, that is not usually a very propulsive way to watch a feature film. It isn't what we're used to right now. And taking that and making it be like, yeah, the gods are there, arguably, but the actual enemy is Odysseus to himself. It is his own guilt and shame and the thing that he unleashed by choosing to win the Trojan War by breaking, they call Zeus's law, but breaking the covenant, the basics of society, of you welcome a stranger in, you aren't there to be deceitful, right? And he chose deception. And now he's living in a world where no one can be trusted. No one trusts each other. People are unleashing violence on one another. No line is uncrossable. And I think what's amazing is for all the mythology in this movie, I think what Nolan is really doing is saying, like, he's erecting this myth of a time when we were good to each other and is longing for us to go back to that time. And it probably never existed, right? Like, I kind of doubt in ancient Greece, people were kind and respectful and neighborly to each other. But it's like, for a minute, let's imagine that there was this time before the original sin happens and hell is unleashed on the world. And then it's just this belief of, like, we could do that again, right? We could make the world a better place. And it sounds, when I say that, it sounds as cheesy as, like, love is the only thing that transcends time and space. And I'm sure if I rewatched Interstellar now, I would also cry and find it very meaningful and, like, hate the version of me that was, like, ragging on it back when it came out. I re-listened to our episode recently, by the way. But here, this idea of, like, we should welcome one another, we should be decent to one another, we shouldn't be living in a violent, mistrustful time. I just found it very, very moving and clearly a referendum on this moment, even though probably at any point in the last many hundreds of years I could have said it's a referendum on this moment and been right, but it feels very fresh now. And, like, this paired with Oppenheimer, I just really think Nolan is, like, he's taking these intense feelings of, like, what is the world that we've created, and is just blowing it up in, like, the most massive IMAX size possible and reaching a giant audience. And I'm overwhelmed by it. I think it is really, really, really smart.
Yeah, and kind of going back to what you were saying about the way people perceive kind of the story, like, historically, and what people think of these different moments of what he does, like, sparring off against these gods and these different things. Like, the tagline on IMDb is literally "Defy the gods," and it's gods getting in the way of his traveling home and him trying to overcome the trials that they put in his way. And it's, in theory, as you kind of said, it's him being more clever than the gods, or finding a way around their thing. If Poseidon won't let him cross the ocean, he'll work with these people that have the fast ships that let him go past, like, the winds in the ocean and do different things. That wasn't shown in this film, but, it's in the original story. There's different ways, tricking the Cyclops. Also not in this film, but whatever.
Right.
There's a bunch of things where it's, like, him being more clever than the gods and stuff like that. And it's like, this is really him feeling like he's not even worthy of going home. And it's like, he feels he deserves the punishment of everything that he is going through, not just a guy who is like, yeah, you're going to try and stop me? Let me show you how much better I am than you, and let me do all this stuff. He still has that wrathfulness as he eventually may make it home.
I think we're clear everything is fair game now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, even and maybe because you are the scholar, as you have clearly said over and over again in this podcast, you are a scholar of the Odyssey. Yeah. Even the question at the very beginning of why does he take an alternate route? Why does he not follow Agamemnon? And I assume this isn't laid thick in the original text, because this whole idea of him being guilty from the horrors he committed in the Trojan War is not in the original text. But here he just says, like, I've had enough following Agamemnon. And, like, even the motivation for this whole fork in the road of why he's on this journey is him being, like, overwhelmed with the horror of what just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, you have that, and yet you still have wonder at all of the encounters he has, right? Like, I've been talking a lot about the Cyclops, which I just love that sequence, because it is the biggest one. It is the one that feels the most, like, magically Nolan to me. But maybe the one that is most impressive in terms of taking a, like, very hard to film story and making it feel very real is the story of Circe. Like, Circe, and famously her ability to turn men into pigs. Nolan films that here in the most, like,
terrifying,
tactile, believable way possible. And then he also, again, to get at like the emotional astuteness, like he takes that story and makes it feel very like personal, like between two people and a woman who is like overwhelmed at the horrors of the world. And she is like, I can't let wicked men in here. Like, I have to reveal your true nature. And like, I haven't gone through every one of the places that, Odysseus lands on, but I feel like all of them are imbued with at least some level of like, are we the bad guys?
Yeah.
Like, is this happening to us not because I defied some arbitrary dictum of the gods, but because like I have made the world a place where people can't be welcoming to me anymore?
Yeah. I think my favorite part about that that scene, besides just the visual of it, is that if you were not aware of the story and what was about to happen, the way it's shot and the performances of the men around the table, you know exactly what is about to happen. Like, it's so filthy and disgusting that you're like, oh, they about to turn into pigs, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like real time. You're like, oh, I don't like anything about what is about to happen. I don't like this at all. Not
since Spirited Away have people turning into pigs been so memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a difficult movie to talk about because it is all very overwhelming and beautiful. Like I could just go through set piece by set piece, or I can leap to my one, if I had to criticize something I would criticize point.
Yeah, I do want to know your criticism.
Yeah. The only thing, and again, I don't even know how much I feel this. I would need to watch it again to really decide. All of this is obviously building to Odysseus' homecoming, and specifically, what are we going to do about all the suitors, right? They've infiltrated the place. They have not left. They're all scheming to find a way to marry Penelope, to kill Telemachus, to become king. And Nolan does a great job of at least breaking up this story by having flashbacks, doing the same thing he did in Oppenheimer and arguably Dunkirk, of chopping time to tell a story in a way that would be more interesting. But there still is something of ending on like the big action set piece of just like, I'm going to fight all the suitors, that it is cool. Like, again, while I was watching it, my heart was racing. I was into it. I'm a fan. When I stop and look back and go, what was this movie about? It's like, in my mind, the movie has its emotional peak when Matt Damon is talking about the horrors he unleashed in the Trojan War, when we learn where Zendaya as Athena comes from, right? When we really understand that. And then there's almost this like, okay, but now I'm going to go kill a bunch of people and we're going to root for me killing a bunch of people. And there's something about that structurally that like, I almost wish there were more nonlinearity, so the emotional climax happened at the actual climax of the movie instead.
Yeah, I think, but this is him at least turning the violence inward, right? Mm-hmm. Like, he unleashed it on the world, and now he's like reeling it in and directing it inward. Like, right. if we are the people from the sea, metaphorically or actually, what if I use that and vengefully take us out so that we can no longer hurt other people? Like, it's at least it his heart is in the right place? Question mark.
No, yeah, I mean, I understand. I totally understand. And again, I did not mind this at all while I was watching this. I was like, 10 out of 10.
It doesn't feel discordant with like his message is like, rather than burn down somebody else's city, I'm burning down the interior of my court of what I let into my house.
Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm okay with it. It's just like, compared to the grandeur of everything else in this movie, I wish there had been a way to fold in all of that and still make the crescendo at the end be kind of the most heavy emotional feeling of what have I unleashed on the world, you know? I almost want this to be like just like sad fighting at the end rather than like this heart racing, action thing.
Hey, after Oppenheimer's bomb went off, there was still like an hour left of that movie and court hearings.
I know. And both times I watched it, I still felt like the third act was the weakest of the bunch. Yeah. But it is a small criticism because, again, I can obviously make the case, too, of why he's like, I am beyond saving. Let me take everyone else who is beyond saving and hope that the next generation can do what I failed to do, right? Like that is powerful enough. And yeah, I'm here for it. It's just like everything before that I thought was so overwhelmingly beautiful, like majestic and mysterious, and there's just something very like literal about like, and now we're gonna have a fight and we're still gonna root for me to kill everybody. That just felt almost like, oh, we've kind of been talking about how like all of this violence and stuff unleashed chaos on the world,
I was just hoping we were finally going to find out what Odysseus whispered to Einstein.
Yeah. Someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, pretty much every choice I just think is amazing. Even like Agamemnon being a Benny Safdie who we barely see, who's just like in a suit the whole time, like this larger than life Sauron type figure in the story.
I appreciate it though, because I made it the whole movie not even realizing that was Benny Safdie.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love that choice. I think that is right for the. Again, I'm no scholar. The Agamemnon that this movie wants to describe, who is like, I am this vengeful, powerful king who wields all of this violence, and yet I am like totally inaccessible. Yeah, very much Sauron at the beginning of Lord of the Rings to me. Like really, really similar vibes.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. How did you feel about Tom Holland? Because I feel like people feel like he's the weak link in this film. I think he was great for the character that he was playing.
Yeah, I think he's great. I truly have no negative notes for any actor in this movie.
Like I'll even remove the character he was playing. Like I think he was genuinely very good in this film.
Yeah. I agree. I don't really understand what people are criticizing. I think everyone here understands the assignment, basically, which is I am one piece in this really big tapestry, and I'm going to call Christopher Nolan. I know it takes a village to make a movie. Nolan knows how he wants to use me, and I think they're all being used exactly the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. Glad we agree.
Yep.
Any last thoughts?
I don't know. It almost feels silly to try to piece it apart more. I want to watch it a second time.
Yeah. Well,
I like this truly, in terms of what will stand the test of time of me like looking back on it and thinking it perfectly holds up. I truly feel like this might be duking it out with The Dark Knight as like the Nolan movie that I believe to be the strongest. It is really, really, really fucking good. And that doesn't mean I'm levitating in the way Inception made me levitate, but you and I re-reviewed Inception in 2020 and I still loved it, but I had like more notes than I did the first time. And I feel like often with Nolan, the spectacle wins me over. And then when I think about it way later, I'm like, I respect the hell out of the spectacle. I'm a big fan of it, but I know if I were to revisit and think too hard, it might hurt rather than help. And this is one of the first times when I feel like this is only going to help however much I like think about it again.
Yeah. So how do you feel about watching it again, not in 70 millimeter IMAX?
I feel okay with it. I mean, I will never not have had that experience, right? Yeah. I'm really glad my first time seeing this movie was that overwhelming, but I feel like I could watch it like at home, like I feel like it would be powerful in any format. I'm actually curious to know widescreen, how different it looks. When you see those like charts of the aspect ratios, like there's a lot that is shaved off between widescreen and IMAX. but it never feels that way when I'm watching a movie. You know, I never feel like, oh, I'm not seeing enough.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what the difference will be.
You can find on Reddit, there's a bunch of like side by side trailers where you can see like, you know, close up of Odysseus's face in the regular trailer and then like his whole ship.
Right. Okay, now here's what you got to do is run one of those terrible AI in painting things and see how close that gets to what the IMAX did. And then post rage bait on the internet.
I think they call that Cosm. Yeah, I still don't know how like Apple hasn't thrown all the money at IMAX and just been had the Apple Vision Pro be the exclusive place to watch at home IMAX when stuff comes to at home after release, because the fact that like these things, I get it, not day and date, none of that shit, but like once it's no longer in theaters, even if it was like $25 a pop every time you wanted to watch it or something, just being able to strap something on and watch it again in that way, I don't know. Like there's literally an IMAX app on the Vision Pro and you can watch like nature documentaries and stuff in a virtual IMAX theater, but you can't watch these films.
I mean, maybe it's coming. Who knows?
One day, Stephen, one day.
Yeah.
All right. So should we get to verdicts?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Stephen Miller, if you were going to give this a must-see, recommend with a caveat, wait parental, pass the caveat, or a must avoid, what would you give it?
I know the suspense is killing everyone after I said this maybe is tied with The Dark Knight for my favorite Nolan movie ever, or at least the one that stands the test of time. But yeah, this is a must-see, obviously. I think this movie is incredible. I assume it is going to win all the things this year, and I think that's totally fair and deserving, because this movie is fantastic. How about you?
It is a must-see for me as well. Wait as long as you have to get your IMAX tickets, I guess. But I guess don't wait too long so it doesn't fall out of theaters. I don't know what the next thing is that's playing in IMAX that's going to make this thing leave theaters, but...
probably the new Spider-Man movie is going to have an IMAX.
But that's like next week, and I know that like people are still booking tickets for this thing through August or something like that. So
okay, yeah, maybe IMAX owners are smart enough, at least 70 millimeter ones, to be like, we're keeping this around.
Yeah, or maybe they'll split it or something, and they'll be like going back and forth. But yeah, must see. That's the official rating here on the Spoiler Warning podcast, and I assume every other film podcast that you could possibly listen to. But yeah, that is going to do it for this review of the Odyssey. Stephen Miller, if people want to find you throughout the week, where can they do that?
People can find me at Blue Sky at sdavidmiller or sdavidmiller.com.
People can find me at ChristopherInRealLife.com or ChristopherIRL on a number of social platforms. You can find the podcast over at thespoilerwarning.com where you can get a bunch of the back episodes of the show. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can do so in Overcast, YouTube, Apple Podcast, or wherever podcasts are found. If you want to know when the episodes go live, you can follow us at twitter.com/spoilerwarning, facebook.com/thespoilerwarning, or instagram.com/thespoilerwarning. If you want to get a hold of us directly, you can send an email to fans@thespoilerwarning.com, or you can use the contact form on our site. Music for this episode will come from a track selected from artlist.io, so hopefully you're enjoying that. That is it for this week. We are going to pull up our oars, set sail off, hope the winds are in our favor, and try not to eat any cows. And hopefully we'll see you soon when we get back home.
The new sun god says we can only eat cow, we can't eat lettuce, or else we're going to get diarrhea.
Oh, yeah. A month after we eat the lettuce, apparently, which is terrifying.
Luckily, lotus is still on the menu.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, no, but the lotus might make us forget we ate lettuce.
Oh, that's true. There is a very dumb viral tweet somewhere that could be made pretending that it's a lotus recall instead and trying to tie those together. I feel like it could be done.
And with that note, take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.